Have you ever canceled plans at the last minute? Not because you were busy, not because you didn't like the people, but because the idea of the crowd alone already exhausted you. If crowded places drain your energy faster than your phone battery, you're not broken. And there is real psychology behind it, far more complex than most people realize. Imagine this. It's Saturday night. Your phone lights up. Everyone's meeting downtown. The place is packed. It's going to be amazing. And suddenly, something inside you sinks. Not because you hate your friends, not because you hate fun. Just imagining it already feels tiring. Here's what might actually be happening, and why it matters. First, your sensory system may be taking in more than average. Some people have what psychologists call high sensory processing sensitivity, a trait estimated to affect about 15 to 20% of the population. While most brains automatically filter background noise, flashing lights, overlapping conversations, and visual chaos, some nervous systems absorb far more information at once. It's not better, it's not worse, it's simply different wiring. Think of it this way. If most brains run in standard definition, yours might be running in 4K. More detail means more data. More data requires more energy to process. Research by psychologist Elaine Aron suggests this trait involves deeper processing of physical, social, and emotional stimuli. You might notice a flickering light, a shift in tone of voice, a micro-expression, and subtle tension in the room, all at the same time. From an evolutionary perspective, this was useful. Someone needed to notice what others missed. But modern environments, loud bars, flashing lights, crowded venues, weren't designed for this nervous system. What feels like too much isn't weakness. It's cognitive overload from excessive input. Second, the real challenge may not be the crowd, but the social performance. Many people who struggle with crowded places say it's not the number of people, it's the effort required to navigate the social layer. If you're highly sensitive to body language, subtext, and emotional cues, social situations become mentally complex. You're not just listening to words, you're tracking what's unsaid, what doesn't match, and how people actually feel. Some studies suggest people who prefer smaller gatherings often score higher on emotional perception measures. This doesn't make anyone superior. It simply makes certain environments more mentally demanding. You may value depth over surface-level interaction. A meaningful conversation at 2 a.m. can feel more nourishing than hours of small talk. Neither preference is wrong. They're just different. The problem is cultural. Society often equates social frequency with social skill. Quantity gets rewarded. Quality gets overlooked. Third, your brain may be rewarded by different things. Here's where brain chemistry is often oversimplified. Research suggests extroverts tend to get stronger dopamine responses from social stimulation and novelty. Introverts may rely more on systems linked to internal focus and deep thinking. This isn't a switch, it's a spectrum. Most people fall somewhere in between. Practically, it means your brain might recharge more from reading, quiet walks, or focused creative work than from parties. Nothing is broken. You're just refueling from different sources. The real issue is cultural again. Many societies treat extroversion as the default and introversion as something to fix, creating unnecessary shame around natural preferences. If you come home from a social event craving silence more than sleep, this may be why. Fourth, emotional absorption is real. Some people are especially sensitive to the emotional states of others. You may hear terms like empath or mirror neurons, though the science varies. If you walk into a room and immediately feel tension no one has mentioned, or feel drained after being around anxious people even when they seem fine, you're probably picking up subtle emotional signals. That means you're not just managing your own feelings, you're unconsciously processing many others at once. That is exhausting. The upside: strong empathy, deep listening, emotional insight. The downside: without boundaries and recovery time, overwhelm builds quickly. Needing silence afterward isn't avoidance, it's regulation. Fifth, sometimes extra support matters. Crowd discomfort isn't always just preference. Social anxiety, panic disorder, trauma, or agoraphobia can make crowded spaces genuinely distressing. These are not character flaws, they're treatable experiences. There's a difference between "I prefer smaller gatherings" and "I'm afraid to leave the house." Both deserve compassion, they just require different kinds of support. What this means for your life. Understanding yourself isn't about labeling yourself as broken or special. It's about making conscious choices that fit how you actually function. A few truths. Small social circles can be just as meaningful as large ones. Recovery time after social events isn't antisocial. It's self-care. You don't owe anyone an explanation for declining an invitation. And preferences can change throughout life. A better question than "What's wrong with me?" is, "What do I need to function at my best?" Sometimes that means skipping the party. Sometimes going and leaving early. Sometimes finding people who prefer quiet depth, just like you. If crowds drain you, something real is happening. Whether it's sensory sensitivity, introversion, emotional attunement, anxiety, or simply preference, you're not better than people who love crowds. And they're not better than you. We're all just trying to find environments where we can be ourselves. The goal isn't forcing yourself into draining spaces or avoiding connection entirely. The goal is understanding your patterns and building a life that fits who you are. So whether you're on team "Bring on the crowd" or "Give me silence and a good book," there's room for both. What about you? Do crowds energize you or drain you? Tell me in the comments. I'm curious where you fall on the spectrum. If this helped you understand your mind a little better, subscribe for more insights into human behavior, psychology, and the hidden patterns behind everyday life. This is Luminox Theory, where we make the invisible visible.